up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew LK. So you are now tuned into the Middle Initial Podcast. Today is February 20th, 2023, and I'm here with my co-hosts as usual, Jude A. Jackson and Kevin A. Lewis. What's going on, guys? How was your weekend? What is up?
Good man, good. I'm assuming that we're going to talk about the XFL games today. Is that what we're going to talk about?
Listen, if there's one thing I won't do, it's talk about XFL or USFL. There's
Brother, you
more
had
than enough.
people live tweeting a game that featured AJ McCarron. So I was like, I want better for you. I want better for you. Like, it's none of my business. I understand that. I ain't here to judge nobody for their hobbies, but goddamn, AJ McCarron for real on a Sunday afternoon. Ain't got better shit to do.
It's really it's sad. I love football as much as the next person, but not enough to watch XFL or USFL. How you doing, Jude? You've been quiet for like the entire week. Not even texting in the group chat or anything like that. Jude's going missing during the week now. Like, what's going on? Going missing during the week?
He's fearless this weekend.
He's
I'm reading everything. Don't worry. I'm doing well. No complaints. Didn't do anything too crazy. I went to see one of my friends' shows. Harlem. She Gets the Money in like Harlem or something. It was pretty good. It's like one of those off-Broadway plays at like Lower East Side. It was a pretty good show. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for the invite.
We're not invited out in public. Listen, we're
not anything. Jude just comes and goes and does what he does on weekend. He don't say nothing to nobody. He don't hit nobody up. That's just we're just like coworkers to Drew, bro. Like that's
right. We're
coworkers.
Or a second family. One of those things. It's not a side family.
Family implies that you invited us out every now and again, bro. Like second families go out and enjoy each other every now and again. Drew just like fuck y'all. Right. I feel on the podcast. That's it. Like, I ain't seeing you.
Oh my God, no, that's not it. That's not it.
That's not it.
It's only been for 3 years now, but okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, you've been doing it for so long. Yeah,
it's only been that for 3 years.
Right.
And of course, we have a behavior or anything like that at all.
Right. We have a very special guest tonight. Don't let the title fool you. He's not actually a doctor, but he kind of sort of is. We got Jordan Breeding, formerly of Crack.com. Jordan has graciously accepted my invite to come to this little place we call show. This podcast. Jordan, you have a long resume, so to speak. Tell everybody about yourself a little bit, what you've been up to, what you're doing now, and what brings you here with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's fun to be here. I've already warned you guys, obviously, but now for the viewers, I will be useless. I'm not very of use when it comes to sports, but I know we'll talk about other things. Eargasms, eyegasms. It's all coming. It'll make sense eventually.
It'll make sense later on.
Maybe if you stay around. That's how you YouTube, by the way. You gotta tease later so you keep your retention high. So who I am, I mean, the reason I'm here, presumably, is because at the beginning of the pandemic, but I just mean the reason you even know who the heck I am is because at the beginning of the pandemic, I was a music director at a church who had the idea to film a video in his basement and cold pitch it to Cracked, who I have freelance written for. I've freelance written comedy articles for a lot of sites, Paste, Ranker, Modern Rogue, all sorts of stuff. And they accepted it. And they said, why don't you reboot our long defunct YouTube channel? So they hired me full time. And I did that for 2.5 years, 3 years almost. And February 1st.
We've been podcasting, to be honest with you. Yeah.
What'd you say?
Almost as long as we've been podcasting. Yeah. No coincidence. Yeah. Because we started at the end of 2020.
Okay.
And I think I stumbled upon you coming back like top of 2021, right?
Yeah, so the first video came out April 24th, 2020, but it took a little while for anybody to even know anything was happening. But yeah, so that's what I did. Now I've got my own channel. It's not Mr. Beast, but it's doing better than I expected at this point, literally 20 days into it or whatever. Got some other things going on, but that's kind of the gist. That's how people would theoretically know me. I made 250 videos or something for Cracked, as well as wrote 100 articles or something. And Google me. I'm all over the place. The only other person, person named Jordan Breeding on Google that has any presence is a web developer who died in 2015, and I'm slowly crushing him out of
Jesus Christ.
you know,
Jesus.
pretty
Wow.
soon he will no longer be remembered, and it'll just be my
Wow.
dick jokes. Yep.
Wow.
I was
something.
thinking if there was another Jordan Breeding that existed, it would have been a porn star, Jordan Breeding. That does sound like a porn name. So I was thinking like,
I'm just glad somebody else said it.
yeah, because I was thinking
I was thinking that the whole time when you told me it was Jordan Breeding. I'm like, Breeding is his name? Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I'm sure from the other end of Google, there's a Jordan Breeding porn star coming up from behind. So we'll see.
Coming up from behind. Was that intentional?
Yes, yes.
It was.
I know the nose, aren't you?
Very much so. Yes.
I'm
Got
a
your nose.
professional.
I have a question.
That's
Jordan. Do
crazy.
people mistake you for Harry Potter because you look a lot like him with the facial hair and everything?
Harry
Like,
Potter, he says.
yes. Daniel Radcliff.
Daniel
in other
Radcliffe.
words.
I
Yes.
want to say the
I thought he meant actual Harry Potter. I'm like,
right, the boy wizard.
I'm like, okay, that's going over my head. All
Yeah,
right,
people are
fair
always asking if I am in fact magical. No, so no, I don't think I've ever got Daniel Radcliffe before, but I do think I have one of those sort of very generic white guy face. I have been said that I look like Will Wheaton, Charlie Day from Always Sunny, Nick, whatever that actor's name is from New Girl. I've gotten Dermot Mulroney. Just perpetually people they feel very compelled to say, you look like this other white guy that I'm aware of. You know what I mean? I just have a very like all of it is radiating out from me. All of us are one. I don't know.
No, that wasn't. What was that term? See, I know the term. It's on Cracked. See, I'm about to do a lesson now. They had what was that face? They said for the hero, like the oh man, it was a term. I'm so bad at this. It was a term they were saying that there's like certain heroes have a certain symmetrical regular face, and I forgot the term.
Well, the thing that I remember, I mean, I'm sure you're right. I mean, in general, I think they say that symmetry is more attractive or whatever. But I think the thing that I remember is that heroes actually they do their hair the opposite of. So like when Superman is when Superman's a badass, his hair is going this way. Yeah. And when he's not Superman, when he's Clark Kent, it's going the way that mine goes. I'm
the lefty and the righty.
I have perpetual wussy, not superhero hair because I have a cowlick or whatever. There's nothing I could do about it.
Oh man! No. But so getting into what you did for Cracked and what you're doing now. This was just simply a lateral move. Like it's nothing out of the ordinary that you were doing. You just went from doing this for Cracked, now I'm doing this for myself.
Sure. The big jump was going from being a guitarist at a church to making videos for Cracked. This is also, to be totally honest, not exactly what I planned to do to start 2023. But it was coming. So either way, this was what was going to happen at some point. So we're making it work. I wasn't necessarily planning on doing this. My son, my third child, was born 10 days ago. So the timing is stressful, but it's good. We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, like all lateral moves, some of them make sense and some of them certainly don't make any sense. They, and Eric Bieniemy's lateral hire is what we're going to be discussing. For those who are in the know or not in the know, Eric Bieniemy is the former offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, now newly hired offensive coordinator / assistant coach for the Washington Commanders. Talking about, lateral moves, for a lot of people, this doesn't make sense. I guess for NFL minds, and I'm not talking about the media, but people who work and operate within the NFL, this makes complete, utter, perfect sense to hire someone from one team doing a job to do the exact same job with a slightly better title in Washington, of all teams too, of the Washington Commanders, who have a rich history of fairness, equality.
I live in Virginia, so that's
for years and years notwithstanding.
I live in Virginia, so that's the team closest to me. So that's the team I've seen the most.
Right.
It's the worst I mean, even just the stadium is the worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Regardless of
It looks
them like selling cheerleaders to other men.
Right. Right.
You know, that's bad, but like my seats were terrible also.
Mhm.
But I mean, this is the I guess the I don't know where you start. Like, do you start with the Rooney Rule? Do you start with the fact that Bieniemy has now won 2 Super Bowls as an assistant, while overseeing one of the, or if the best quarterback in the NFL currently, presently, as it stands right now, to probably coaching, I don't know, Sam Howell, Taylor Heineke, whoever's going to be the starting quarterback for the
Maybe
Commanders.
Doug Williams
Now,
is free.
hmm?
Maybe Doug Williams is free.
Well, I mean,
Is
he was in
Patrick
the Super
Ramsey
Bowl.
busy?
He was in the Super Bowl, but I mean, this type of hire, I don't think the NFL. But let me not say I don't think the NFL doesn't believe in optics, right? They don't know how optics work because clearly this is a move that when made, someone had to step in and tap someone on the shoulders. Hey, let's maybe not let's keep him in Kansas City. Let's maybe not hire him for the same position. Now, could this possibly lead, since he's a slash assistant coach? I guess the idea is possibly and it's a 2 year deal apparently, right? 2 year deal. It's not even a
Yeah.
full. It's 2 years, right?
Something like that. I
It's
don't
like a
know.
2 year deal or something like that. It's like a tryout deal to see if you can call plays, because apparently he didn't call plays in Kansas City. But as Shannon Sharp pointed out, there's a lot of offensive coordinators who never called plays who got head coaching jobs. So
Mhm.
because it's a lateral hire, I guess I'll let Jordan take this take away, because you did a lateral move. This is a lateral move.
Yeah.
Like, what
Yeah.
do you think about stuff like this?
Well, I mean, I guess so that was my understanding, was okay, he didn't call plays, and so now presumably he will, and so that'll make it. I guess the other thing too is, yeah, you have Patrick Mahomes, and he makes magic. He throws it with his freaking left hand sometimes, so it's hard to say that was like he told him to do that or something. But yeah, I guess you're right. It is interesting that he wasn't chosen to head coach anywhere, and even honestly, being an offensive coordinator for the Commanders,
the best offensive team in the league. Like,
yeah, just it freaking, I don't know. It feels like you'd want to stay in Kansas for longer if you could. I don't know. It is interesting. I guess it's just if he could take like the worst team or one of the worst offenses and make it not the worst, then he can say, "See, I could send me to Texas, and I'll take your Texans and make them," or whoever's gonna fire their head coach next, I guess.
Mhm.
I mean,
I don't know.
The Jets,
it's weird.
maybe.
Well, the Jets, that's possible. Jets could fire their coach in 2 years. That's definitely not impossible the way things are going right now. But Kev, I'll ask you this, Kev. What does Eric Bieniemy have over his head? I know he had the whole issue with, what was it, the DUI, alcohol, something like that.
He also put it. I think who did he choke a lady?
Yeah, this was like 20 years back.
Yeah. I think he has a past that
Which
was pre.
I don't buy that that's
NFL.
part of this, because Matt Patricia had some similar issues, and he got hired just fine. So
yeah, there's a lot of people, NFL owners and players, coaches who've done something either terrible to women involving alcohol, terrible to somebody else involved in alcohol, and they're still in the league. So that can't be it. So what is it about Eric Bieniemy that people don't want to hire him? Outside of the fact that he's black, we get that part.
But honestly, I don't even know if it's that. Because I mean, we've seen a whole bunch of black head coaches get hired since he started interviewing. So I have no idea what it is. Now, he's had like, what, 15, 16 interviews? Something, it's just like, the thing about him moving to Washington is like, all right, yes, we think that part of the reason you're not getting a job, or at least he thinks part of the reason he's not getting a job, is because he's in the shadow of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. That seems to be a logical conclusion to draw, which is fine. But, bro, if you've been on 16, 17 interviews and not one of them has hired you, leading the Washington Commanders to the 13th best offense in the league, and that's like a best case optimistic scenario, I don't think that's going to make them hire you, bro, because not much is going to change for you in that time frame. Now, not much about him is going to change. But now, if he's taking this job because he thinks that Ron Rivera either A, might get canned, which there is a non-zero possibility that happens, or B, Ron Rivera does a Bruce Arians, even though he doesn't have that kind of power, but does a Bruce Arians just hands him the game. I don't think that's going to happen because Ron Rivera he doesn't have that kind of pull. But the lateral move, I understand why it was made. I think he is overselling the fact that they think that the NFL thinks that he can't call plays or whatever because he's in the shadow of Reed and Mahomes. Because, well, we've seen other coaches get jobs in similar circumstances, and we've seen other black coaches get hired. So there got to be, if the 17 teams like, nah, we're good. Or I don't even know if teams have interviewed him multiple times. Maybe that's happened. But the man
that's
like
happened a couple of times.
And everybody's like, nah, I'm good. There's got to be something there that doesn't meet the eye that we don't know of.
Have there been other black coaches who didn't call plays that became head coach, like that had both of, like a very similar situation to what he's dealing with?
I can't.
I don't know any off the top of my head. I can't say, especially offensive. First of all right. Well, let's start here. How
did
many
Hernandez call plays for anybody? I don't think he did.
He was an offensive coordinator.
I'm thinking Mike Tomlin's the last guy I can think of off the top of my head.
Mike Tomlin, he didn't. It wasn't really a hire per se. He was already an assistant in Pittsburgh, so it wasn't like a new team. It was like passing the torch. Yeah, it was. Mike Tomlin.
He wasn't an assistant for Pittsburgh. I don't think.
He wasn't a wide receiver coach in Pittsburgh.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't. Because I remember that whole interview process, and like you had people leaking, like the Dolphins leaking, like, oh, Mike Tomlin is too hip hop for us. Like, you know what that means? Too hip hop. You know what that means?
Oh, Tomlin was a defensive coordinator in Minnesota before he got a job.
Right. Okay, so he did call plays. So that thing.
Also, wide receivers coach. But
that's actually a really good question I haven't thought of. Like, did any black coach get a job without calling plays previous? Because we're talking all this about Eric Bieniemy not being in the shadow of Andy Reid, bro. So was what's his face who got the Bears job? Nagy. Nagy was in the shadows. He got a fucking job. And there's Doug Peterson was in Andy Reid's shadows in Philly.
No, they didn't call plays.
Or was it before that? No, neither one of them called plays.
Yeah, in Philly. Yeah, he didn't call plays either.
Right. And head coaches don't have to call plays anyway. You know, I mean, it depends on whatever.
Right.
You could get an offensive coordinator.
And that's the thing. The other stuff is what I think. If I had to guess, anyway, the other stuff is what I think the problem is. But like, they just don't like him. Whatever the fuck the reason is, I have no idea. They just don't like him.
But to Jordan's question, the reason why this is unique, and I was right into the part I was saying Tomlin wasn't an offensive guy; he was a defensive coach. He was an offensive guy in college back in '97. He was a defensive coach in Minnesota, right? So the question turns into now is like, how many black offensive coordinators are there in the NFL who've turned around and gotten head coaching jobs? It's not a lot because most of them, especially even the recent hire in the Texans, D'Amico Ryans, is a defensive guy, right? So
I can only think about Anthony Lynn. Anthony Lynn is the only guy I can remember that fits that criteria.
And he doesn't exactly have a sterling reputation,
right?
Amongst fans.
But from what I remember, this goes back as far as saying, well, black people can't coach offense. That's.
I was about to say that because like offensive coordinators are the only ones that get the genius label. Like in case we haven't figured that out by now, and I don't know what the split of black versus non-black offensive coordinators is off the top of my head, but if offensive coordinators are the one that get the genius label, and one guy, is on a team that's won 2 Super Bowls in 5 years and had one of the best offenses of all time, then can't get a head coaching job after all this time, but Matt Nagy can and Doug Peterson can. Well.
I will say
the math is the math, baby.
There's only 3. Sorry, I was just gonna say there's only 3 black offensive coordinators.
3 league-wide.
3. Bieniemy, Leftwich, and Pep Hamilton.
I thought Leftwich got fired.
No, Leftwich got fired.
No,
he's still there.
He in Tampa still?
Yeah, he
I don't know how many defensive.
Bowles. Who did Bowles fire? Bowles fired somebody, right?
I thought
he fired someone.
He didn't fire Leftwich, did he? I mean, it's possible. Listen, the turnover.
Yeah, he fired Leftwich.
He fired Leftwich. Okay, so there's 2.
He fired him.
There's 2. So there's 2 black offensive coordinators league wide in a league that's geared entirely towards offense, and where offensive coordinators get labeled geniuses unless you coach certain quarterbacks. Then it's kind of just like you're there for the ride, whether you're white or black. Like to be fair here,
Yeah.
you get labeled like okay, whatever. Mahomes is going to do that regardless of who the coordinator is. Herbert, Burrow, those kind of guys.
I will say with Eric Bieniemy, it's so funny. Like sometimes you see on Twitter during the games, like I bet during the Chiefs Bengals game in 2021, their AFC Championship where they lost, the first half everyone was like, "Oh my God, Andy Reid's so great. He's the best ever. Andy Reid's great." The second half, what the fuck's Eric Bieniemy doing? And that happens literally every time there's a bad play. There's a bad play, Eric Bieniemy. There's a good play, it's Andy Reid. It's like. It's not that much.
And that's exactly why he wanted to fucking leave. But he's like, now granted,
J. Jonah Jameson.
Everybody has what makes them click, and they're gonna make their own decisions. Hey, brother, I'm taking that 2-3 million or whatever Eric Bieniemy's making, and to coach Patrick Mahomes, I'm just gonna keep taking that shit until they don't want me in Kansas City no more, man. Like go to the Commanders? No.
I mean, he has the easiest job because you don't really have to coach Patrick Mahomes all that much. You just say, "Hey, Patrick, do stuff," and he does stuff. But Washington actually
undermining him a little bit. Mute his mic.
No, I mean it's with anyone. Like if you put Doug.
No, you.
Thank you. Mute his mic.
If you put Doug Peterson on Matt Nagy, it's going to be the same thing. Hey, do stuff.
Hey. That
and they do
Take the mute. Take the mute and go, bro. Take the mute. This is around the horn style shit now. Like, take the fucking mute. Take the mute. 10 seconds off. Simmer down a little bit. That is the fastest 10 seconds I've ever seen counted in my life. The fastest.
But yeah, I'm just saying.
Besides, the enemy helps prepare the offense. Like, not even like disagreeing with you per se, but just generally like with the whole. What does he really do? Does he really call? Okay, well, he helps prepare the game plans.
Oh no, I'm not denying he does stuff. I'm not denying he does all
that. I'm not disagreeing with you. But you also just said he doesn't do anything. You just said you don't have to do anything. Mahomes gonna go do what he does, which I mean, to a degree, is not exactly false. But you said he ain't doing shit, and now I'm saying what he's doing. I don't disagree with you. You just said he doesn't do shit. You just out your own mouth.
I'm talking about game day. The day of the game. I'm just saying there are some coaches, like for example, Adam Gase and Peyton Manning. He didn't have to do anything. Peyton Manning called his own plays.
Oh, he thought of Adam Gase. Let's move on, bro. Adam Gase. Let's move on. We don't need to. Adam Gase.
I'm just saying.
Well, next subject. Even though I didn't have a segue set up for this, so I mean, just gonna let it play itself. It's reported at the Daily Loud, which I don't follow on Twitter anymore, but. Still makes for good conversation. Tom Brady is reportedly taking a year off so they can potentially win Gisele Bündchen back and won't take Fox deal yet. Now, I know Future, the rapper, for those who don't know, had once said, "I know I can get my bitch back," and I think maybe that's what Tom Brady thought he could do by saying, "Hey, I'm going to go play one more year, and then when it's done, I'm gonna go back." And we all, as we know. Tom Brady didn't go to training camp right away. There were some delays because he was doing couples counseling or marriage counseling. And, he was kind of upset that he had to explain himself what he was doing that time between not being at camp. And then during the season, Gisele filed for divorce. And then after the season, another beginning of Black History Month, Tom Brady retires February 1st.
What a surprise.
What a surprise! 2 years in a row, right? And then
let us have our month. God forbid.
And in all season we've been telling Tom Brady, you need to stop, quit, go get your family back, be a family man, stay home. And Cap, it happened. It happened. We manifested this. We kept telling Tom Brady, go get your chick back, bro. Go get your family back, be a family man, retire. And he took the advice, finally, and is deciding to go home and beg for his life back. And it's only funny because, it's Tom Brady. And secondly, like, Tom Brady was a glutton, right? He was a glutton. Let's be real. He had 7 rings. There was literally nothing else he had to prove. There's nothing else he had to prove. No one was questioning his legacy, everything. You left Bill Belichick. He answered the call. Is it Bill Belichick or was it Tom Brady? Motherfucker, it's me. I went to Tampa Bay and I won another championship. I won another, Super Bowl MVP. I threw 5,000 yards, everything like that. It's me. It's all about me. You could have rolled off in the sunset like Jordan in his final shot, but for some reason, You came back. You came back. The Rams put you down, right? Aaron Donald, your final play with Aaron Donald sacking you in the NFC Championship. It's over. You could have just left it right there. But no, you decided to come back with one more ride, just like just like Vin Diesel in Fast Furious. You know what I mean? One last ride. F is for family and all that other nonsense. And now you're turning down the astronomical amount of money that Fox is going to offer you to get your family back, and you think that you're going to go back, win her back, and then go run back to Fox and now broadcast. I don't think Tom understands how life works. I think he things happening the way it does for him that he feels like, I could go get her back. I'm gonna go get her back.
I'm Tom Brady. That's probably how he's going through this.
And get a 10-year, $325 million deal from Fox where you're back. You're pretty much back in an NFL schedule, right? Like you're working every Sunday. You're working all during the week. Like
that's the part I don't understand. Like it's a little different than the NFL understood, but you're still going to be traveling all over the fucking place week in, week out. So it's like you're trying to get her back, and you're like, oh, but baby, that job is like a year from now. Like we could push that to the side, but we're gonna be doing the same shit. Like you're just not gonna be taking hits. You're not gonna have to come home and ice up and all of that shit. You're gonna be doing the same stuff. But I guess part of her hang up allegedly, if you believe what the fuck you read, is that she was concerned about his safety, which that part's wild to me because have you watched a football game in like the last 15 years? Nobody touches Tom Brady because if you touch him, you get flagged. You can't breathe near Tom Brady.
That's fine.
Like there isn't a safer player in the history of the NFL than Tom Brady. Not one. Oh, I'm sorry, punters and kickers, but they're not football players. They don't count. Besides them, like no safer player than Tom Brady. None.
He's Teflon. I know Jude has a lot to say about this. Jude, Jude, would you pick football, a Fox deal, or your wife?
I would. Why not have both? You can have both. You can have the
Fox El Paso commercial.
He asked
why not
either or question.
Everything has to be a hedge. You can't hedge life, Jude.
Okay.
He asked you
what. Did you watch Love and Basketball?
No. So with that, I'm going to say that he should pick his wife. I mean, they obviously built a life together. They were very happy before these past couple of years. If he can mend the relationship, he should mend the relationship. I think it can slowly trend in the right direction. I wouldn't be surprised if by this time next year they are together happily ever after, and then maybe Tom Brady goes on Fox again. That's what I think. Happily ever after, they're together. Yes, all the tears, all the crying. And then we could look back a year from now where Tom Brady was posting thirst traps on the internet, and now he's posting pictures with his family, and everyone could be like, "Wow, this is a great story."
Was posting pictures in his
you know what?
For men on the internet.
You know what, Jordan? That's what I did. You see that picture of Brady in his underwear?
I don't tend to seek those out.
You don't gotta seek it out. It just comes. It just shows up.
I don't know what your algorithm is telling you want.
I'm just saying. I feel so seen right now, right? I feel so seen right now. What is wrong with my algorithm?
I just have to make clear. If I had to see, you have to see it too. So before he decides to get his family back, this is what he was doing, right? Notice the caption, did I do it right? I think, and the reason I'm bringing this to you, Jordan, I think the theory was, and you're a family man, just had to see your third kid, and I think Brady has about 3 kids, right? I think when you reach the point where you're on your bed with a beautiful scene in the background, taking pictures in your underwear and tagging former players, that I do this right? A bit of reality starts to seep in. So
yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's even things like maybe Giselle just doesn't want to eat nothing but kelp for a whole season. Like if they're doing Fox, they can eat real food again or whatever. I don't know if you read that really long. They did an interview with his dad like 5 years ago, and it was all about. He's like, yeah, my son eats nothing but kelp, and I hate going to his house. Something like that. Yeah. So maybe that's the difference with Fox. I mean, what's weird about it is obviously money doesn't matter. His wife is richer than he. Like they don't need money.
Right.
It's just the only reason to do that job is because it's probably interesting to him. It's a natural kind of leap,
Right.
but also so that he can win at making the most money at doing broadcasting. So
Right.
I don't know. I think you're all right. Like, it's difficult to see a dude who just wants to win everything all the time. I don't know if that's an easy guy to be married to.
He doesn't want to lose his family.
Yeah.
He's going back on his own terms. He's doing the Donnell Jones where I want to be. That's what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just,
hey man, the last scene of that video where Donnell Jones was knocking on the window of the restaurant when they were on their date, he dressed like Hamburger. Yo, they should have shot him. Shot. Like, I'm not even talking about punch, kick, shot. Somebody should have shot him.
Yeah,
right then and there, bro.
Damn, Kev, that's a lot.
Like you said, you wanted this. Like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to stay. Like, all right, you made your choice. She has moved on. She's seeing other dudes. Now you talking about sweet dee. No, go to hell. Go to hell. Somebody should have shot him. Go to hell. Right there. Go to hell.
But that's essentially what Tom Brady did, right? Tom Brady said, "Look, I'm going to come back one season, babe."
And Giselle should have told him to go find Todd Bowles' address. That's what she should have told him. Go find Todd Bowles' address. Go make it work with him. That's what you left me for. Go make it work with him. Go pull up on his bed, on his couch.
Oh man. Hey, look, it's just one of those things that, I mean, there's two family men on this panel, right? It's Jordan, 3 kids. I have 2 kids. I don't know. I mean, make sure she's not listening, Jordan. Make sure your lady's not listening.
I got headphones. It's fine.
Just look over your shoulder. Listen, sometimes you want to get out the house, right? You want to be away from home. You got to find something to do. You don't work at home. You just want to get out the house. That's why I can't wait to go back to work. Get out the house for 3 days a week. Shh. You have a lifetime to be miserable. A lifetime to be miserable. Tom, you paid your dues, bro. 20 years in the league. You had a whole lifetime to be miserable, and that's what you're supposed to do. Your wife, like football wives, they have to endure you going on the road, getting injured, being traded, everything like that. The one thing you got to do is just quit. I'm done. And you're a winner. It's not like you're a loser. Like, you have 7 rings. You had literally no reason to come back to play football.
Like he had Derek Carr's career.
Why are we talking about Derek Carr?
The case threw an alley oop to me, and I
did. He touched off the.
I mean, Tom Brady should have retired right after that Super Bowl. He should have gone out like Peyton Manning. That would have been.
He should have retired like 15 years ago, but that's neither here nor there.
He definitely should, but Peyton Manning had no choice though. His head was being held up by popsicle sticks and varicose vein.
Bubblegum and eyeballs.
I mean, even a varicose vein.
Even after the 600 touchdown, I thought maybe he'd retire after that season. I mean, what record could he have possibly been going for at that point? After the 600 touchdowns, like 700?
Well, I mean, he owns pretty much every single quarterback record now because of this season. But I mean, but who cares? Like, I mean, all right. Not to go off on a tangent, but LeBron James, right? LeBron James just got the 38,000. He's in his 20th year. LeBron James says today, I got 23 games to get us to the playoffs. I'm not missing the playoffs back-to-back years. LeBron, for all intents and purposes, is still playing at his peak. He doesn't have to retire. And Savannah definitely supports him. As you can see, she's like at everything. But if LeBron decides to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to coast the rest of these games, try to get to closest to 40,000 points and just retire. I wouldn't be. I know nobody would be mad if he decided just to call it quits. But
Bayless would.
No, you'll skip. Of course, he had no material. He had nothing to talk about. But there's something about athletes in the narcissism scope, and maybe even with men in general. Maybe you guys can help me out with that. What is your narcissistic thing that it has to be done your way, Jordan? What has to be done your way?
Like in my whole life, or like professionally?
Your whole, like, it's something, whether professionally, semi-serious, like, if it's not done this way, it can't be done. It's your way or the highway.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that I'm at least decent at compromising at things. But I mean, I would say that in general, if I am being asked to perform in a live setting such as this, but more specifically when I'm playing music, I my wife and I ironically have played tons and tons of music together. We've played a lot of different things. We had a band for a long time. The thing, it doesn't 100% have to be exactly my way, but if it's not functional the way that it's going, I'm going to be pretty pissed and pretty trying to grab control back, because I really dislike the feeling of sucking in front of people, especially if I feel like it's a thing that I can control in some way. Yeah, yeah, I don't like sucking anyone, live or recorded. Check out my Jordan breeding porn site.
That's gonna bring the algorithms together.
Yeah, the algorithm's back. Oh my god, a Tom Brady just popped up.
Wow, this damn. But I get where you're coming from, Jordan. I get where you're
anything that I have to put in
you don't
front
play
of
music,
people,
Jude. What do you get?
I get the feeling of what he's saying.
Oh my god.
Videos are similar. It's not that I can't compromise while making a video, and I like to think that I'm able to take in a lot of input. But at the end of the day, if my face is in it, or if it's my name on the script, I will be pretty adamant that it be good. So that can look like a million different things, but I feel very displeased if something comes out, or I have to do something that people see and it's not great, and I have, because I don't want to walk it back either. I don't like being like, oh, I was tired, or I don't know. I just think that's lame. So I would just rather say, I don't know, we failed. But I don't want to say
as a creative, I can understand that, like putting your name, your brand, your face and everything. And I mean, this is like literally what you're doing, majority for a living. So I could definitely understand that. Jude, what's your thing?
I would probably say, like, if people are talking about playing video games, for example, and they say they like skip cutscenes or something, I'd probably be feeling quite a way, because when I play video games, when I play RPGs, I like to enjoy the story, experience the story. There are some people out there who like to skip cutscenes and do all that stuff. They just want to shoot things all the time. That's not right. Enjoy the story. It's another form of art. Do that. That's one of my things. I mean, there are other things too, but that's probably one of mine.
You heard him, Kev. You heard him, Kev. What's the storyline?
What was the question?
Your hard line, the thing that's absolutely.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was, so that answer what I thought you asked just did not mix. I just wanted to make sure I was not bugging out. Sorry, but keep going. Go
ahead. I mean, it's weird. I don't really have much of a hard line when it comes to like other people, for example. Like,
yes, you do. Don't lie.
I can't.
Don't lie.
I mean, I'm just trying.
Don't lie before I say it.
I'm trying to think. What's my hard line?
Don't lie before I say it.
If I'm dating, if I'm going out on a date or something, one of the rare dates I go out, I really don't have much of a hard line. That's just is what it is most times, unless you just say something completely just crazy.
So you just okay. You don't have an answer at all for this. You just
like that they don't watch cutscenes. That's when you walk out of the restaurant.
Watch cutscenes.
Jude's like,
yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any. I really cannot think of anything that's like I have a super hard line for. I really can't.
All right, let Kev go since you're stuck. Kev, what is your thing?
And Jude can relate to this because this is motivated by him. If I know you and I'm familiar with you and we go out frequently enough, even though Jude doesn't invite me nowhere, but we used to anyway.
Oh my god!
Don't fucking small talk me to death, bro. Don't small talk me to death, bro. Like, if I know you ain't trying to date me. Clearly, you don't need to. We're comfortable with each other. We don't need to do this bullshit where you're making like, small talk. Like example, I've said this on this podcast before. I'll say it again. I'll be like, I used to watch games at Jimmy with Jude. Pretty much every game, every week, the Jets were not playing at home, right? So he'd come in, like we do. I'd come in like 12:30, whatever. I'm feeling good about life. Like, all right, I get to drink and go home. Yeah. And then, it's 2:30. Like, the Jets are probably getting stomped because that's how this works typically, right? And I'm like 3, 4 beers in, 3 shots in. And like, mind you, we're sitting at the same table or roughly thereabouts. It'll be 2:30. Jude comes up to me. How you doing, Kev? You're right next to me. Why the fuck are you asking me this? You're right next to me. Why? Why are you asking me this? And the thing that really bothers me is not even, it's partially that he asked that, but then there's no fucking follow-up. That's the part that irks the fuck out of me. I'll be like, good. And then he'll just walk away. It's like, what was the point of this interaction? Tell me, what was the point of this interaction?
I'm just checking to make sure you're okay, Kevin. Making sure you're not going to pass out and just like head on the bar or something like that. I'm checking in on you. Make sure you're okay. Make sure you're not going to pass out on the bar.
What was the point of the interaction?
I'm checking in on you. Yes, I want to make sure you're not going to like pass out of the bar. You're drinking and everything, having a good time. Don't want you to like pass out. Checking your sober levels, I guess. I don't know.
How much I managed to drink in an hour and a half?
Sitting with Jude, I'm pretty sure it's a lot.
I mean, I've seen you go through like. I mean, I don't want to paint you as like a crazy alcoholic or something. I think you go through like a decent amount, like some pictures. Like you have a picture, and then I'm looking, and then
it's like, Kevin, I think I have a problem. I think I have a problem.
You basically calling me an alcoholic live on air right now. You hear this?
I think I have a problem, Kev.
You need to see AA, Kev.
When I ask you how you're doing,
if you need me to.
Existential thing, not a literal.
No, you drink more than I do, so it's like for me, like
everyone drinks more than you do.
People in Utah drink more than you do, bro. Everybody drinks more than you. Everybody.
Like I mean, I'll have like a couple beers in a setting.
Couple beers. Yes, couple implies plural, Jude.
Yes, and I'll have a couple of beers.
I really don't want this to go on a tangent because I remember Jude.
Too late for that, but let's go.
Listen, the reason why I say it because I remember just Jude bringing beer to a tailgate with no ice. And I said, "So Jude, where's the alcohol?" Oh, I got some beers. I'm like, all right, cool, some cold beers. It was the same 8 to 12 beers he had in his cooler in his trunk for from weeks before. That he never opened nothing like that. I know you don't drink. I know for a fact you don't drink. Because one, you brought beer, and two, it wasn't cold. So I know
Jude
you don't drink.
Jude will sit there and drink one beer for like 6, 7 hours. And it's just like,
I'll drink a beer a quarter now. So the first quarter I'll have a beer, second quarter I'll have a beer, third quarter, fourth quarter.
That's cap.
Pace yourself, guys.
That's cap. Let's move on. That's cap. Jude's not going to sit here lying in my face like this, bro. That's cap.
Jordan believes me. That's all that matters. I see the belief.
Jordan doesn't know you. This is a whole
anything you guys say, I believe. I'm very
exactly. He gullible as hell. He don't know you, so you got a reason to be that way.
I know nothing.
I guess my hardline narcissistic thing. At work, I don't like following rules. I fucking hate rules. I hate any type of authority. I do not like rules. And it makes no sense. Like certain things, like especially for example, today, clear as day, right? My internet literally goes out, right? Literally goes out. And I messaged Jordan and said, hey Jordan, internet's out. Tell Kev and everybody, internet's out. I have to go and get a brand new internet, which sounds crazy, but it's literally a 5G wireless box. Brand new internet. I go to the store and say, hey, this is dead. It's powered out. Can I just switch it out for another one? I didn't break it. There's nothing wrong with it. Oh, I can't do that. It's not power policy. I was like, you have these literally here in the back. Can I get a new one? They're like, well, you have to do an exchange. And I'm like, but that's going to take days. I need internet tonight. I need it now. You can just go. It's right there. Just give me a new one. So as long as I can give you a new one, is if I activate a new one for you, and then you call and cancel the other one. I'm like, well, that makes no fucking sense. When I can just exchange this one for the one that you have, right? So I called up, spoke to the guy, and he said, basically the same thing. I can't do it. And he said, oh, you're on a recorded line, so I'm not telling you to do that. Wink, wink. But if you do that, he gave me the whole runaround. And my whole thing about that authority blockage is that's fucking stupid. And every time a manager, and that's my biggest thing, an authority figure says something to me that doesn't make any sense, I don't have the filter to say, okay, I always it's fucking stupid. I don't bang with authority. I never see the logic behind it. They try and try. Oh, Andrew, you're defensive. I was like, no, it's just fucking stupid. And my brain can't filter out any other way. It's dumb. You guys would admit it and say it's dumb, but we have to go through protocol because it's written in black and white, and it just drives me up the wall. That's the one thing. Hardline. I hate authority because 9 times out of 10, the rule in place is fucking stupid. And it's just arbitrary bullshit that people put out there just to say there's some order and there's no chaos. It's arbitrary.
Okay, now I have one thing that I hate. You inspired me. I'll go right quick. I hate workplace snitches. If you're snitching I despise workplace snitches because that's happened to me a couple of times, like just for different things throughout my career and everything. And it's like, dude, you're still not going to get promoted. And now if I find out who you are, I'm just not going to talk to you again. And it's just, not only that, it's just like, be better than this. Do your own fucking work and stop clocking other people. It's like bullshit like that. So I had to get that off my chest. Thank you for inspiring me, Case, because that's one thing I despise.
So we could agree on that one. That's good. I hate workplace snitches too. But anything, hate authority. Hate authority. Problem with authority. Moving on. Guys, have you listened to any good music lately? Anything worth listening to? You have, Jew? What have you listened to lately?
I've listened to something that just blew my mind. It just tickled a certain spot. It tickled a certain spot.
Did it tickle your ear?
It tickled my ear. It gave me it was a climax, so to speak, of emotions and feelings and everything. I would say that when you're at the end, you're exhausted and you're just spent. You need some snacks after. You might need a drink.
That sounds like you had a gasm.
Plural. Yeah, multiple.
Orgasms. Multiple gasms. Don't play with Smokey. Multiple gasms, okay?
A whole
Smoky
album of it.
80-year-old Robinson decided to surprise people with an album that no one asked for called Gasms. With tracks such as Gasms, of course, self-titled, How You Make Me Feel, I Want to Know Your Body, I Keep Calling You, Roll Around, Beside You, Hit Single If We Don't Have Each Other, You Fill Me Up, and of course, my favorite, I Fit In There.
There are so many questions with this.
There's so many questions.
Why is you fill me up, I fit in there? That's quite a sequence. You fill me up, I fit in there.
So I read it.
I fit in there, you fill me up.
Well, or I fill you up.
Yes.
I read an interview with him, and all he's doing is, going back to SEO. It's an SEO play. He knows. He was saying something to the effect of, he's like, I chose Gasms because clearly the only reason you're talking to Smokey Robinson right now is because I made an album called Gasms, and you think that's weird. But like a lot of the songs, like the I Fit In You song, he's talking about snuggling on the couch. He's not actually committed to making a filthy album necessarily. Like we were talking about that Gasm song. It's right. Like, he's like, just so you know, we have lots of gasms, but the only ones I want to talk about are eargasms and eyegasms because, I don't want to get weird with it, but I do want you to click on my album. It's a clickbait album. It's like intended to trick you, sort of. Which I thought was really funny and clever for him to do, I suppose. It's like calling your podcast like the Orgasm Podcast, and you just talk about sports still. And you're like, oh, I'm having a sportsgasm. And people are like, that's not why I'm here.
That's the type of thing Drew would say.
We kind of did that with the fact that our tagline is inspired by 69. That's our tagline. This is a double entendre because the Jets and the Jets and the Mets both won championships in the 1969 year. And I think the Knicks won that in 1969, 1970. So since New York was at its height of popularity during 1969, and the last time the Jets won the Super Bowl, we said, inspired by 69 and MI Pod 69 and all that stuff, So yeah, I get it. I think he took a little too far though with the gasm stuff.
It's gross.
Let's go with the lyrics from I Fit In There. I'll start off. I know Kev got some. I mean, he just said, it's me in your life. Make some room for me. if deep down inside you're hoping to fill up an opening. Now, if to deep inside you're hoping to fill up an opening, almost sounds like hurting for a squirting.
Deep inside. Oh goodness.
That's his next album. Yeah.
Hurting for a squirt.
Yeah. It's just squirts.
The squirts. If empty fills up your private place, ain't nothing and no one can penetrate. If you got an inner vacancy,
this is more aggressive than I remembered when I got
Is it the same song Jordan was talking about?
Well, I don't know. Now I feel weird.
He's talking about the gasm song.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I fit in there. Baby, then make it a place for me. Like Smokey's getting right down to it. I mean, they're not long songs at all. They're pretty short. But I'm my theory is he done it on a dare. Like somebody to say, hey, I dare you to make this wildly flagrant sounding album, and just put it out and see how the masses respond to it. You might get a couple of million streams off of it.
You got a great playlist now for filling someone up and gasms. Got a great playlist.
I'm always looking for that.
Good. And when I see is you and me together forever, I'm knocking on wood. Every kind of gasm in the book. Each. I have them every time I take a look. Like damn, she must be fine as shit. Wow.
What book do you think he's referring to?
Good question. I don't know.
It's not the Kama Sutra. It ain't the Bible.
It ain't the Bible either.
That's what I was gonna say.
It ain't the Bible either, bro. I don't know what book you talking about, man.
He's like, I was looking at my book full of gasms, and actually, you have achieved every one of them.
No, I feel like such a flagrant title for a
Black
song.
Book. I don't know.
This is not the first time an R&B artist, right, not named who, has come out with some songs with some questionable lyrics. Does anybody remember Brian McKnight?
I was thinking of that when you started talking. Yeah,
Brian McKnight. I mean, depending on how you want to Google it, right? The name of the song is "If You're Ready To" with the number 2 learn. But the hook or one of the hook, let me show you how your pussy works. Since you didn't bring it to me first, I have lots of things to show to you if you're ready to learn. Let me show you how your pussy works. Bet you didn't know that it could squirt. I have lots of things to show you if you're ready to learn.
This is a crazy mansplaining album. Oh my goodness.
Right. And this is 2012. This is 2012.
I mean,
Brian McKnight, if you're ready to learn how your pussy works. And I'm guessing this was a crack.com joke. There's something about being an OBGYN being inserted in there. Like, if you could write the material for that, Jordan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. I don't think anybody wants me to write anything about that. Anything even adjacent to that.
These are some flagrant lyrics. Wow. I hope the beat sounds good. I hope the beat sounds good at least.
I wouldn't play it because I don't want the copyright things. So you guys play it whenever you get a chance. But it's just it was just funny to hear it because he's playing it to a piano melody, and Brian McKnight can sing. You know what I mean? So it's like Brian McKnight, I don't want to, I can't sing as well as him, but he's really and he's piano riffing, show you how your pussy works. I'm like, wait a minute, what? What? That is the melody of this song.
That's beautiful.
That could be a funny line to put the next time if you're in a relationship. Don't do this on like a first date. You're like in a relationship and you're like, hey, wife, girlfriend, let me show you how your pussy works. And she's like, oh, really? How are you gonna? It's like a challenge, and then it's just like.
Would this make any sense to say this is why you've been dating, bro?
None, zero. There's no reason.
It could just be a cheap laugh, and she's like, "What?
Hey,
oh, really?" And then it's just like you get down to town.
Let's play the song.
You get down to town. Down to town.
Down to town.
What?
Oh man, I I see what you're not doing when you disappear.
Exactly. Thank you. So that way we can dispel all the. There are people on Twitter that are lying for whatever reason. I don't do that stuff. I just stay home, play my video games.
You don't do that stuff.
That stuff.
I mean, why do you want to tell us that you don't get the pum pum?
Just want to make sure people are understanding.
Why? Why do you want us to know this information?
Just want to make sure. Just want to
Make sure what?
I don't know.
The jokes are not going to stop, so I don't.
They're never going to stop.
They're not going to stop. So,
especially
what did you gain from telling us this information?
We should have you read some of the lyrics off because I know if you had said, I'd have been on the floor laughing.
Oh yeah, I don't think Jordan wants to hear me read a bunch of sexy lyrics.
That was actually what I was promised when they asked if I wanted to get on the podcast.
To speak for people. I'm sure Jordan doesn't want to hear it. Jordan's like,
pull up one of the tracks, Jude.
That's my payment, actually.
What? Let's pull one up.
Yeah, just grab one.
Smokey Robinson Gasm lyrics. So let's look it up. When I look at you, makes me feel better than good, and what I see is you and me together forever. I'm knocking on wood. Every kind of gasm in the book, each I hasm every time I take a look. You give me gasms, I gasms. You're the responsible for my gasms. Gasm, gasm, gasms, gasms, gasm, 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 gasms. You give me gasms. When I hear your voice, my eardrums start to quiver. It's a sexy sound, make my love come down, and I know you can deliver. Pre-chorus, any kind of gasm on the list, the gasms you don't.
You're killing Kev. Kev is dying.
So yeah, that's all the lyrics I have. So now you know.
Yo, Jude, you're gonna do an audio book. I'm gonna send you some of my poetry. I want you to record some audio.
Oh my goodness.
We gotta incorporate that regularly. Have Jude read lyrics.
Jude's lyric corner.
We're gonna have Jude read thong song lyrics, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it to that episode. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, bro.
We're not gonna finish the episode at all. Let's get back to sports, shall we? There's been a lot of ridiculous things that happen on the interweb, so to speak. Some doctored, some true. Feats of human strength and athletic ability. None more featful than this. Hey, okay.
Whoa! Yeah. Okay. Oh, that was dope.
What are we doing?
Unless DK Metcalf is part kangaroo, I'm pretty sure that didn't happen. But it did set the incident on fire. A lot of people, wanted to believe or believe it's true that DK Metcalf pulled off the best super catch scene. Kev had some thoughts on them. Go ahead, Kev.
All right, man. I'm not gonna act like I've never been caught up before on some bullshit on the internet. I'm sure we've all been there in some way, shape, or form. All right, let me get that out of the way. Now, with that said, for the most part, like some of the stuff is like semi-believable. Maybe you get caught up in a fake account, but it's like believable text or whatever, like stuff like that. Bro, if DK Metcalf could jump like that, he'd score 50 touchdowns a season. What the fuck are we doing here, bro? Look how far off I have no concept of like inches when it comes to vertical leap. Like they'll say, "Oh, he jumped 48 inches." I'm like, bro, it looks like more than that. But I have no concept of that shit. With that said, look how far he got off the ground. I've watched LeBron James play basketball for 20 years. He's arguably the most athletic basketball player of all time. LeBron would blush if somebody jumped like that in real life. Blush, like, whoa, like, wow, that's high even for me. And I'm supposed to believe DK Metcalf was just randomly doing this in some fucking grass, and somebody caught him jumping like literally like 8 feet off the ground. Again, if he could do this, why would Seattle call anything else in the red zone? Why? Like, why? It would just be like, yo, we're at the 15. Okay, I don't care what route DK runs, bro. Run straight, run to the left, run to the right. Who gives a fuck? Just throw the ball up, bro. Like he's jumping that high, just throw the ball up.
Off a vertical too, not even a running jump. Because imagine if that was a running jump. That was a vertical jump.
Right, off a vertical, like standing still, he's jumping like that, and we're supposed to believe this,
right? And it's funny because DK Metcalf had a crazy combine, and I think his vertical was like I'm not gonna lie, but he got up.
It was crazy though.
It was definitely crazy. And I mean, you've seen the picture with him sitting next to another athlete, another wide receiver, and it looked like Photoshop. Like DK Metcalf is 6'4", and he's built like an armored truck. Like he's humongous. So you don't really need to do much to make him look supernatural because he already does. Like he's crazy ripped. He's a big dude. He's super fast. He's running a 4.340. I mean, we see ridiculous things like Kobe jumping over the Lambeau. What was the Steph Curry one when he was shooting the ball from the other side of the court?
Yeah, with one hand. Yeah, he was throwing that shit overhand, right. And he was just making it in from the opposite baseline over and over. People like, wow, Steph Curry can really shoot that. Yes, I'm so sure he's throwing that shit one-handed from baseline to baseline, making every single shot.
Okay, yeah, I'm kind of gullible that I did believe the Steph Curry one. I'm like, oh, I mean, you've seen him do crazier things.
Why would
because you see him making like half-court shots regularly. I could.
Does he make all of them?
No, he doesn't.
No. Okay, so what makes you think he's throwing balls one-handed from one baseline to the opposite basket, and it's just nothing but net, like he's shooting fucking free throws? What makes you think that was the case?
I don't know how they can. I mean, how did they edit that so quickly though? Like
they can edit whatever the fuck they want. Clearly.
Fair enough. I mean, we are in a world with deep fakes, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Is anyone familiar with
we're in the world of deep fakes, all right.
Dude Perfect? Anybody familiar with Dude Perfect? Jordan is. Yeah. You've seen Dude Perfect, right? And of course, their feats aren't physical. They're not jumping or anything like that. They're pretty much just making shots from these ridiculous spaces, to the point where people said the key behind Dude Perfect was green screen, and they just turned around and made fun of themselves and basically did like the most horrible green screen stuff ever to prove like, hey, we really don't do green screen. We're actually making all these shots. But my question is to you, Jordan, why do you think people are obsessed with superhuman traits? Like, we've already seen athletes do amazing things, but why do you think people are more into, okay, this is amazing, but this is ridiculous? Like, what's the appeal behind that?
It's a great question. I'm also going to say, just because I was looking it up and it doesn't look like it hasn't been disproved, right? Like there's no official. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it was real, just so that if it comes out later, I can be the correct one in this argument. But as per your actual question, I don't know. I mean, I think the thing that's been interesting to me, we've been talking about Tom Brady, and I personally have been of the mind that I was like, I hope that he plays until he's 65 and breaks every record known to man, only because I will get to witness it at an age where I can like comprehend it. I just think it's interesting to watch, to be able to participate, quote unquote, or to be alive when something historical happens in the way that, like, Michael Jordan, I wasn't watching basketball really when he was playing. And so I don't, I know that he's the best ever, but I've seen LeBron or Steph Curry play a hell of a lot more than I've seen Michael Jordan play. And I think there's something really cool to, I mean, DK Metcalf's what, like 25? I mean, if he really is playing like that, or he's able to jump that high and will maybe score 50 touchdowns he is 25, 50 touchdowns next year. I would like to see that. I would like to be able to tell somebody, hey, I saw him do it. I don't know. So I think there's a like a voyeuristic pleasure in being able to witness.
This episode is very sexy.
Yeah.
Voyeuristic pleasure. I've never, wow.
I think
he jumped up and I was like, gasms. Gasms. Every in the book. But that's like, for me, the appeal of seeing Mahomes play is at least partially, yes, he's doing insane things, but also he's doing insane things that nobody has ever done in a lot of ways. And so I think there's definitely, when it comes to sports and sports watching, for me, seeing an athlete do something crazy, that's at least how I end up coming to it. Like, that's the appeal to me, is this like, oh, cool, I get to witness something that my kids won't know about, or won't be able to experience in the same way. That kind of stuff.
Right.
That's why I enjoy Patrick Mahomes. It's fun to watch him do things we've never seen him do before, and it's just.
Now you enjoy Patrick Mahomes? That's cute.
Oh,
that's what I'm waiting for. That what you enjoy Patrick Mahomes?
I enjoy it, and I hope he continues this trajectory just so we can just see just how good he can be. Because I think this is early in his career; he hasn't hit his prime yet, and when he does, oh boy, look out, everyone! Just look out. I see Kev's face; he doesn't believe me, but it's just like look out.
He lost his offensive coordinator though, so
however is he going to survive? I have no idea.
I don't know. That could be. Who knows? If
Draft Sam Howell in fantasy.
If Patrick Mahomes somehow becomes bad because Eric Bieniemy left, case left. So if Patrick Mahomes somehow becomes bad because Eric Bieniemy left, that would be that would be the biggest upset of all time. That might be more shocking than Jesus coming back.
Just might throw him in the trash, throw the mic in the trash, throw him outside, do something. If he becomes bad, shut up.
Well, my camera goes every now and again, and every time I come back, it's always something.
It's always me begging you to mute his mic. I'm begging you, mute his mic, please.
Oh man, no. So I agree with Jordan with the whole thing about superhuman feats, right? To the point where we're having people have conversations like, if you could fight a bear or a gorilla or whatever, who would win? Like, really, like a gorilla could rip your arms off and just like kill you with it. Like, that's not going to happen. But there's something with people. There was one the other day,
like, would you rather get punched in the face by a gorilla or Mike Tyson? I'm like, guys, it's clearly Mike Tyson. Like, clearly Mike Tyson. Like, Mike Tyson is going to punch you in the face, and granted, it's not going to be pretty.
You may die.
You will live to tell about it. Like, likely. Number one, a gorilla, one punch, you're likely dead. And then they're not going to stop at that. That's the thing. They're not going to stop at that. Like, they're going to maul you on the ground. They don't have an off switch. They're going to kill you and then kill you even more dead. Like, that's how they get that.
That's the crazy thing. Like, you see people being like, I'm going to fight a gorilla this time. You sure?
Good luck.
You sure about that? Oh, if I get like 5 of my friends, we're gonna fight this gorilla, and it's like he's gonna kill all 5 of your friends too. So he's just gonna beat you. He's just gonna beat you to death with your friend's body. I'm
gonna bring 6 of my guys, and we're gonna run up on this gorilla. Bro, he gonna kill all of y'all. What are we talking about here?
These ideas the idea that humans are like superhuman because of what we see on the field, like. We've seen humans. Chad Johnson raced the giraffe or something like that, or something wild. Like they remember that. Of course, Fox had that show where they were just like animals versus humans and stuff like that. Some people play. I think it's a zoo that you can play tug of war versus like a tiger or something like that. Like the rope is on one side and you pull it, and like the people are lining up to play tug of war with the tiger on a line, and they're just sitting there like, "You ready? All right, cool." You're trying, right? Like, you're not going to win, right? But there's something, I guess, within us. Maybe it is that narcissism we were talking about earlier that makes us just feel like, hey, I can do all things, for our religious people through Christ who strengthens me. I guess I don't understand why people feel like, we are just capable of all these tremendous things. And of course, there's stories. We've seen things like Usain Bolt is amazing. Michael Jordan in his prime. Amazing. LeBron being 38, amazing. Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl at 43 is amazing. But it's amazing on the scale of you working at an office and someone who's a professional athlete. That's the scale. It's not like people think so. Like, and that scale may be like this wide. Remember Pros versus Joes? Pros versus Joes is the perfect example because people felt like they could go against athletes or American Gladiators, and they would get their asses kicked. And maybe 1 or 2 guys who were American Gladiators.
To be fair here. I think I could probably throw a football better than Christian Hackenberg. I'm just saying, I think I could probably throw a football better than Christian Hackenberg. Like, I think I could throw a football better than Tim Tebow. I'd like to have an opportunity, Pros versus Joes, if y'all want to remake. I have enough animosity in my heart for both of those gentlemen that I will smoke them just on the strength of my killer instinct. Thank you.
My favorite part of that Pros versus Joes was when there was this random Eagles reporter. He was like, I can definitely hit a home run, maybe score a touchdown, and then something crazy. But I could never like play hockey or something. And it's like, you
Oh
can
yeah,
maybe hit a home
yeah.
run. Like
Yeah, he
even the
said he
best.
could luck
Right.
into a home run. I don't remember what he said he couldn't do, but he said he could luck into a home run. I'm like, all right.
Oh yeah.
You're
Dan
gonna
said
luck into hitting a ball 400 feet. Okay, buddy.
Dan
Okay.
said he could hit a fast Jacob DeGrom fastball because he played college baseball. That's
Who
what
did?
Dan said. Remember that Dan? He was like he could
Dan
hit a
a lot of
fastball
shit,
off of
bro. Why are we
Jacob
talking about
DeGrom
Dan?
because
Dan says a lot of
he
shit.
played college baseball. Like there's a lot of people who feel like that's the superhuman thing. I think that's part of it. Like a lot of people feel like we're better than what we are until you realize a lot of stuff can kill you. Like if you go to Australia, like there's like 30,000 things that kill you in Australia, and some of them are like this big. Like a lot of things can kill us. Like humans are great, I guess sometimes, but not, in the evolutionary scale. You know what I mean? We're the top of the food chain because of higher brain function and opposable thumbs. That's it. Like if it was like mano with mono, I'm pretty sure it'd be a little bit, lower tier. But I
You
guess
don't think you could take on a gorilla case?
me take him on with a date? Sure, absolutely. I can gorilla if I want to. And I
Well, that's
can't
the
even
thing,
say
right?
anything.
That's
I was gonna say something out of line. No, I'm not gonna say. Go ahead, keep going.
I was just gonna say, well, that's why we would win versus a gorilla because we've got guns and stuff. Like
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
humans win things is
Right.
yeah.
Because
Wear
of
a
guns.
hazmat suit or whatever, made out of Kevlar, rocket
Right.
launcher. So,
Can I bring my gun to the
yeah, Mike
Oh,
Tyson.
man.
I'll fight Mike Tyson with a gun.
Jesus, okay. Wow. Damn.
Listen,
That's a new one.
look,
Metaphorically.
Look,
I think that
or
evens out. I
gorilla.
think that evens it out.
That's what it is. Fight Mike Tyson or gorilla with a gun.
Yeah.
I'm not fighting the gorilla, bro. Keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it.
Oh man. So Jordan is not a new parent. He is definitely a seasoned parent in this world, but he is a first time dad to a son. Boy
Correct.
dad, first time boy dad. And
Mhm.
being a boy dad like me, I'm a boy dad as well. Our kids are getting older. Well, when they do get older, I should say, they're gonna be into sports, throwing things. Like my son's 18 months, so he throws things and everything like that. And
Yeah.
hopefully one day he's gonna play sports. And I'm gonna give him some instructions one day on how to hit a baseball.
You gotta keep your eyes on the ball.
Do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do.
Excellent work. Excellent work by that kid there, keeping your eye on the ball. I love kids because kids are literally lumps of clay who don't know a goddamn thing about anything about life. And to the 2 non-parents from the show, if you ever have kids, that's the joy of life. By telling your kid to keep your eye on the ball, and they literally will keep their eye on the ball. Did he make contact? Shit, yeah, he did. He did. He followed instructions. He did exactly what he said. Keep your eye on the ball. Put his eye on the ball. Jordan, do you look forward to many, many times? And what stories do you have about your kids being absolutely too literal?
Oh man, I mean, when my wife asked me like what is the main thing that I'm excited for with having kids, one of the main things that I brought up was being able to teach them things. Like you're saying, they come in knowing nothing. And it's really fun to start teaching them stuff. I'm trying to think of an instance where they're too literal. I think it's usually my oldest daughter is not quite 4, and she's the one who's a lot bigger on like wordplay and stuff, and she's always, gosh, you should come back to me. I mean, I wish I had like a good example off the top of my head. You should have sent me that question earlier.
I got a couple of fresh ones for you. I'm gonna get you started.
Yeah, do that.
So my son is 18 months and he's learning a lot from music. So a couple of things that he does though that's kind of like literal. So we have these spelling letters, and you did have the letter on the front and then the object on the back. So mine's is like A for airplane. But we also watch Gracie's Corner, we watch Baby First, we watch a whole bunch of stuff. So his toy goes apple. So instead of him saying A whenever he sees A, he goes apple every single time. He doesn't like everything with A is just apple. So it's like it's just one of those things that he does like apple. He does so he doesn't call me dad. When he sees me, he goes bye. Every time he sees me, bye. And I'm like, but I taught him that bottle is bye, but I also taught him bottle. So I'm saying to him bottle. So I see his bye. I said bottle. He goes bottle. I'm like, yeah, bottle, but who's Baba? Because am I Baba or my dad? I don't know. I used to be dad like when it started, but now I'm Baba
You're
apparently.
Baba the fool.
Yeah. Baba the fool. I'm Baba the Hut. But yeah, it's everything is with him is like you. I'm realizing you got to teach a kid one at a time, two the most, never three. Like so, if it's B banana, that's it. You can't be B boat the next day because then he's going to be confused.
Yeah, that's a good one. My daughter, I think she's a little bit past it now, but yeah, every letter was a name of somebody that she knew. So it was like M, mommy, and you're like, yeah, but we're gonna spell out a word now, and she's like, yeah, M, mommy. It's like O. I'm trying to think of somebody, Olivia, M, mommy again. I'm like, okay, but we're adding too many words to this word. So yeah, I definitely have experienced that.
But I mean, I know have you experienced like the funniest thing now, like the word X. This is what I hate about the English language. The word X, right? Every show does something different when the word X comes up. So one of the things, of course, everyone knows X xylophone. One of his books said X-ray fish, and I'm like, wait, why X-ray fish and not just X-ray, right? This is X-ray fish. Like, why is a fish part necessary? And then another show was doing the sound of X, even though every other word they were doing, right? They were doing the beginning. So if it was Y, it was yellow, yellow. So when X came up, they said box, box, and I was like, what? Box, like boxing like that, like what? What are we doing? Like that's one of like the funniest things about like learning.
You know what you should do next time you get X? Have them listen to X Gonna Give It to You by DMX.
That's actually sound advice.
X gonna,
yeah. I wanted to clown that, but that's actually
so did I. I knew what he was gonna say, and I'm like, I can't wait to that's it. And then I'm like, actually, not too bad. That's not too bad. I can't even knock it. Not too bad.
Yeah, we have a book called Pandas Love Pickles, and it's just going through alligators love apples, cows love cinnamon buns or whatever, and X-ray fish love everything. And it's like, well,
so they have X-ray fish in that book too. Somebody has a monopoly on X-ray fish.
Yeah, big X-ray fish. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I have a question. Do you guys, with your kids, they watch Peppa the Pig? That's the most random question I would think. Do they watch Peppa the Pig? Because it's like
Peppa Pig?
Every time. Yes.
Peppa Pig is rude, so no.
That's the exact same thing that we did. We watched a couple episodes. We're like, this kid is shitty to his parents. No, we're not watching this. Yeah, that's a bad pig.
Peppa's terrible. Like she hangs up the phones on her friends and stuff like that. Like she's awful. And we don't watch Coco Melon apparently because apparently Coco Melon is bad for other reasons. And now somebody sent me an article like Coco Melon is not good for kids' production and whatever, something like that. They didn't know that, and they said it gives a whole bunch of negative characteristics. Like so, no Coco Melon. So yeah, it's.
I have two things to add about this video. Number one, the kid has a future. He can listen. You like that. Yeah. You're a good listener. Put the words into action. Number two, I think there's a non-zero chance you could put that kid at shortstop for the Yankees and he'll hit better than the shortstop did last year. I'm gonna say that.
How did IKF dig?
Damn,
yeah. Hell yes. Right. Why do you think I put this in the show? I put this in the show so I can take a thing IKF. I don't give a damn how cute the kid is. That's nice. That's cool. I did not put this shit in the show because the kid's cute. I put this in the show to take a dig at IKF.
This was a long game. Wow, you got Jordan and Case inspired parenting and everything, and you're just like throwing shots at IKF.
I ain't got kids. What the fuck am I gonna do with otherwise?
That's true. That is true.
Jordan, am I gonna turn on Peppa the Pig and watch it myself? Like, I ain't kids. What do you want me to
do? Jordan and I were being very wholesome, and it was like, yeah.
No, yeah. I let y'all have your little moment. I was like, hey, before you go on to the next topic, I gotta come in with the windmill dunk from the free throw line. That's what I'm here for.
We did have a topic about somebody fumbling the bag, but I think we kind of, the romantic tip or whatever. I don't know if we still want to cover that. I kind of want to skip that topic and talk about something very near and dear to my heart. I got suspended on Twitter. I got suspended on fucking Twitter for 7 days for the most softest reason in history, and it was unbeknownst to me that I got suspended because the ruling was sent at 5:30 in the morning, and I woke up to log on to Twitter one day, and it said I've been suspended. For those who do follow me, remember I don't usually tell people to follow me because I don't want people following me. A lot of y'all are crazy. For those who do follow me, though, this is what I woke up to. I requested, I appealed. I got suspended because I told Stefan, who is somebody who I follow, who follows me, who is a friend of mine on social media and stuff like that, he'll support of the pod and comes to the games, kindly stub your toe. I violated the rules against abusive behavior. 7 days. Now, for those who know me, you know I've said worse.
Yeah.
And
worse.
I've said worse to people I don't know and don't like. Like at the time I told the guy I'll be pissed down your leg. I was really upset and I meant that, but I get suspended for 7 days, I get suspended for 24 hours. You know what I mean? I've said
you're a repeat offender case. That's the problem.
I mean, I guess so. This is what happens when you're a bad boy like me.
Like,
you know what I mean? You go
finally, Elon and them getting the right people up out of here. It's about
I
time.
got suspended one time. It was in 2020. It was Jason Whitlock that said something he was annoying me, and I called him a coon. So I said, Jason Whitlock, you're a coon. I got suspended.
I'm not going to say what I got suspended for. We're not going to revisit that.
Kim is a nasty, nasty man.
Yeah, I'm not. But if I see it, so do you. And I took that a little bit too far.
Kim was a nasty, nasty man who used to like retweet things he was supposed to.
So I have two thoughts on that, I suppose. The first is this required somebody to report you, right?
Like, well, that's what originally thought.
Elon didn't see that and go, "Oh my god!"
Right.
So that's weird. Somebody saw that and reported you, even if they just thought it was funny. And two, the fact that it happened at 5:30 in the morning. So we did a lot of stuff with Snapchat, and we kept getting violations all the time, and they eventually admitted, at least on Snapchat, everybody, everything that was put up was reviewed manually. However, like by humans, the vast majority of the people doing it were not native English speakers. And I wonder if, Elon's cutting corners, he's sending these kind of things out to somebody who doesn't speak.
He's outsourcing the Twitter violations, and somebody's kind of, I'm offended. Let me see. Hold on. Let's see.
What's funny that he started it, he asked politely. That's the funniest part about this, and still got suspended. Like, he said kindly, and he still got suspended. That's the funniest fucking part about this. And, the second funniest part. The second funniest part is that he appealed it, and they were still like, "No, you're good." Even though they saw what he clearly said, and plain as day, they're like, he said, "Kindly stub your toe." You're still fucking suspended. That's
the funny thing about it. This is the appeal. If you notice this, thank you for your patience as a review, which they really didn't, because they responded back to me really quickly. Normally, when you something, they don't respond right away, and they responded back really quickly, like, "No, we read this, bro. This is terrible. Like, you're awful. Like, kindly stub your toe." And I'm like, I guess, but the funny thing about it, this is Elon's new Twitter, right? And Elon is the provocateur of free speech, and the only free speech that we've seen increase since Elon's return is the N-word, right? By like 135%. That's the only thing that really increased. Like, and that's the funny thing too. That's the funny thing, right? Like, the whole thing with Twitter and Elon coming back, it was the free speech, but it's not free speech. It's just the word. Everybody wanted to say nigga. That's what it was. 130%. Like, that was the increase. Like, it wasn't just saying, free speech. People are talking about somebody being fat or somebody talking about woman or race, like specific racial things and stereotypes. It was just that, and parody accounts. So the N-word and parody accounts was the increase. The only thing that happened. But free speech, I should be allowed to tell my friend to comment.
Bro, if I see one more spam account talking about selling me guns, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yes.
One more, just one.
Yes,
it's like, bro, like, all right, the spam doesn't offend me. Okay, like, whatever, the spam is spam. Now, granted, I feel like I've seen that on a million tweets, bro. Remember when spam used to make sense? I know this is gonna sound wild, but stick with me. Spam used to make sense. Spam used to sell you shit like Viagra. Like that's that's legal. We could all use it. Well, not we, but people could all use it. Like people can use that's usable to people, right? Right. Why am I buying a gun on the internet from a spam bot? Why? Tell me why. Who one person
click the link, big boy, and find out.
That and was like, you know what? I need to go get me a Uzi. I need to go get me a strap. Nobody's doing this.
I got them Glocks for sale, Kev. Clean Glocks.
Some Glocks for sale.
Only on Twitter.
And they only the yo with 2 O's, and that bothers me. I don't know why. That one bothers me. Like, yo, come get the Glock. Fuck you. Come get the Glock. You and your spam. Go sell somebody else. Fuck you.
Well, they're not super cheap either, right? Yeah. I mean, like a gun.
I mean, it depends where you're at. In New York, I think in New York, a gun, like the whole process to get a gun is over $1,000 in New York. Like, so I know in like other
shout out to Plaxico Burrs, but yeah, go ahead.
I know in other states it might be a little bit cheaper, but I think a Glock is like $600 or something like that. Like
but like Viagra, you could be tricked into being like, I'll spend $20 and get Viagra from this.
Yeah, I can get I'm
saying.
Yeah, you're really gonna think about it.
Felicia's trying to get the dick down that night, and you got performance anxiety. Yo, you might be willing to take that kind of chance.
If I have a Glock in my hand, I'm ready to go. So
I will say the one thing with Twitter that's interesting is now, just as a FYI for anyone who does this, because I had to change my thing, the 2-factor authentication instead of texting. Now you got to do a whole bunch of other stuff too. So just be on the lookout, and they'll delete your account if you don't. If you are still
right, if you don't do it and you have to pay for it. Listen, Elon is a grifter. And that, I mean, a part of this, not only because Mission is funny, but a part of me coming on, Elon's a grifter, right? Anyone can see this grift coming. Like, it started with Twitter Blue. We want the edit button. Like the two things I feel like people have said on Twitter for the longest, for many years since it started, and it kind of shot us in the foot. How is this app free? When stuff is like super funny, how is the app free? And I'd pay for edit button because he turned that into because there's literally the two things you're paying for, right? You're paying for Twitter, right? Because you want to be top of the list, whatever, and then you're paying to edit your tweets, right?
Which started at $8. Like bet.
That's it. He's like bet. It was $7.99. Now it's $11.99. Now and then brands are telling him to pay for legacy stuff like that. Like he's a grifter, bro. Like it's so pathetic, and I hope he fails at this endeavor.
He already failing.
Well, I mean,
how much money on this shit?
Well, I mean, when I say fail like how you feel like McKagan should fail. Like I want him to fail at everything else at life, like continuous fail. Like
that's the kind of hate. This is the kind of hate that I support.
That's a deep
kind of hate that I support. I love it.
Right,
I love it,
and really mainly because I got suspended. That and
it's personal now. Yeah.
It's personal now. Like now it's personal. But also he's also saying like, if you don't pay, they're testing it out. If you don't pay for Twitter Blue, you can only tweet 20 times a day. So if you're a brand, and let's say you're Jordan, and Jordan's not verified, but Jordan wants to promote his YouTube page and stuff like that, and he wants to promote Twitter without paying $11.99 or $14.99 or whatever it is right now, he can only tweet 20 times a day.
Now, I think
they should limit people like Drew to 20 tweets a day, but that's neither here nor there. Keep going. Go ahead.
This is a hot take. I actually don't think that. I don't personally find that to be a bad thing. I mean, I think it's all weird anyway, but I don't want 50 tweets a day from a brand I don't care about personally. So, but to your point, if they just spend the money and they can do it anyway, it's not very democratic. But I just sort of, I could see a world in which I would actually be okay with everybody being limited and there's no way to pay out or something. I don't know. I'm not.
But then you might get flooded by, maybe you're the guy who doesn't pay, and then you're unfortunately following the 10 people that choose to pay, and you see all day is their paid content.
There's a lot of bad. It's definitely going to end up bad. But the of all the things, for whatever reason, putting a limit on tweets just didn't feel like the worst.
The worst change you're talking about is like increasing the character limit to like 4,000. They might increase the character limit to like 4,000. So you're
Bro,
going to see a lot.
nobody wants to see Moesha's diary in fucking Twitter form. Nobody
Now
wants to
they
see
can.
that shit.
Now they can. All horrible ideas. The pay to play thing is I mean, they said I don't know how true it is, but if you follow I think his name is Mark Marcus Brownlee on Instagram, on Twitter, and on YouTube. He does like the phone reviews and stuff like that. He says that even Facebook is now adapting that algorithm for legacy
It's like $12.
pages. It's like $12.
And you know,
Like and that
and you know the cool stuff.
and to me, it just seems like these billionaires are running out of ideas to fuck with us. So they might as well just directly say, "Hey, yeah." Like just they're bored. Like they're bored. Like is there any other way to fuck with us? Like let's just directly say, because Facebook is now, it went from college to friends and family, right? I don't think they'll force regular people to pay, but I don't use Facebook that often anymore. I'm there because I have family there. That's the main reason. But if you told me I have to pay $11.99 tomorrow for Facebook, I'm deleting it. Like there's no need for it. Twitter is different because Twitter has kind of been an everyday staple. That's your news feed, that's your friend feed, that's everything instantaneous and stuff like that. Of course, we use for the podcast on the other pages and stuff like that. So I mean, it's important. Have I considered using it, paying for it for the pod page? Yeah, but I don't want to put any more. I don't put any money in Elon's pocket. So maybe that's the only reason.
You know, the funny thing about like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these sites is that they all start out as this innocent enough social media stuff. Like it's just, hey, get to connect your friends, all of that fun stuff. And then over time, what they all end up turning into is big brand bots for ads, data mining, all of that fun, exciting stuff. That's not about social media.
Trying to sell you fucking guns.
Yeah.
That's
so it's now about selling information and data mining.
So there's actually something really interesting to that. There's a couple of different. I've just been reading about this a lot because I sort of work in some of this, or I have historically been working on these platforms to try and get people to watch things like you guys are a little bit. And there's this thing called enshittification, and it happens to every social media platform. And it's seemingly unstoppable, and there's nothing you can do about it. But it's exactly what you're saying, Jude. So when a new social media platform is birthed, usually what happens is all extra value gets pushed to users. So Facebook is a great place to be. All your friends and family are there. You know, everything is built to sort of cater to you, the user. Then once they get enough of you kind of stuck there, because everybody you know is there or whatever, or it's valuable in some way, they shift all the excess value to media companies, to brands, to advertisers, whatever, to bring them all in. And this is like what killed Cracked in the first place, right? There's this pivot to video thing where it's like, you'll make so much money doing video crap here. And of course, that comes at the expense of all the people that are there, that they're just going to be inundated with ads and all this crap all the time. But we're already here and there's nothing you can do about it. And then the final step is called enshittification, is then they take all the value back. So they've trapped all of these brands who now have built business models around Facebook or Twitter or whatever. They've got all these users who just like are just here and they don't know where else to go. Like people keep trying to leave Twitter, but where do you go?
Yeah.
And then they take it all to themselves, and then eventually they still atrophy the whole thing, right? And eventually it becomes so broken and so shitty. Brands have decided we have to do literally anything else. They fire everybody. They pivot to freaking TikTok or whatever.
The next best thing, right?
And so it just keeps happening. And TikTok's the same thing. Like they're going to figure something out. One of the only ones that seems consistently okay to me is YouTube. Like that one, up and down for sure. But it still seems like a reasonably stable place if you want to like make things and do things. But it's not really social media anymore. I don't go on YouTube to hang out.
Because you can't right. So back in the day, I mean, I don't know how long you've been using YouTube, but before you couldn't you can literally email or message the user. So I wouldn't have reached out to you on Twitter. I would have reached out to you on YouTube. Hey Jordan, I like your work. You know, how about we collab and everything like that. Now you can't. There's no way for you to contact someone on their YouTube page, where before you could literally contact them directly. And that took away from the social aspect of YouTube. Also, the part where it's like, hey, we're doing this video. If someone watched it, they can literally make a reply to this video. And that actually helped the person replying. So let's say Jordan did a video, I found it funny, and I did it's like it's how TikTok does stitching and stuff. Let's say I want to recreate that, I can just reply to his video with a video of my own, and I would get views off of his views. So if he had 1 million and I got 300,000, it kind of worked harmoniously, right? It was never anything. It was never anything wrong, and they took away that aspect as well. So yeah, that's how it starts. I mean, remember when Twitter started, it was just text messages. You couldn't even. It wasn't an app yet. It was just you text, and people didn't even know how Twitter worked. And now that's what 2008, 2009. Yep. Now in 2023, and people are like, God, what the fuck? What happened to our thing? You know what I mean? And Twitter is a part of the reason why I have the relationships I have right now. Hey, that's how I met Jordan. That's how I met Kev. That's how I met Jude. It's how we got Damian and Woody and stuff like that. That's how we have the Discord, everything popping. Like it is because Twitter should be a success story and a way to, but they don't know how to.
The big brand ad bots always win in the end. In the end, the advertisers always are going to win. That's how it is.
And Eli wasn't stuffed in a locker enough as a kid.
That too.
Ain't no way he was not stuffed in the locker enough as a kid. You be talking way too crazy for somebody that's big. That's that big a fucking loser. Just because he has a lot.
He has a lot of edgelord stuff. Like the way he tweets, it reminds me of like how someone from like Reddit or some place like that, if they own Twitter for a day, that's how he tweets right now.
Didn't he give the developers
lock his account and then complain about not getting enough views?
Yeah, he tweeted that work? He put out a tweet, I think, on Super Bowl Sunday, and it wasn't getting enough views. So he pretty much basically made the devs like make sure it was visible, so more people could like retweet and stuff like that. That's real narcissistic, magnifying glass on ants type shit.
Somebody needs to stuff that in a garbage can.
Yeah, but moving on to our final subject. This is a funny tweet that came across our table. Jessica Ellis, baddest Mama Gemma. Sometimes I think about how my husband told me once there was a girl in high school who would invite him to sit in her car at lunch and put on music that she joked was good, make out music, and he thought she just really enjoyed music. Now, men are stupid. I have no problem to admit that men are dumb, right? And you can't combine dumb men with women who don't know how to flirt, right? Women don't know how to flirt. Like they don't. Some of them do, but they don't. So I guess in her cutesy way was, hey, this is good makeout music, wink, wink, and he's just dumb, like, yeah, right, yeah.
Dope song, bro. Totally cool, dude.
This is almost literally the story of my first kiss. Actually, is talking to a girl about.
We're ready.
Yeah. Talking to a girl, we'd sort of gone on a couple dates and whatever. And, but so I was not a very crazy kid. She was much more worldly, knew more about life, all that stuff. I was over here getting mad if people didn't watch cutscenes, and
oh my god,
she says, "Hey, I got to tell you something," or something like that, and she leans in, and I'm like, "Ugh, great! She's done some terrible thing that's going to make it harder for us to actually date." So I turn my ear to her mouth. And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" And then she kisses me or whatever. And I was like, "Oh no, we're at a football game. Like there are kids, there are people everywhere." Anyway, just a very similar situation where I guess she thought it was going great, and this was like a time to kiss or whatever. And I was like, hadn't even considered the possibility.
Was that an orgasm? Was that an orgasm you had though?
Almost.
Yeah. All of them.
Almost.
Yeah, fumbling.
I have a fumble. I have a fumble story. I don't want to say it too loud. But I have a fumble story. Listen, there was this really hot chick. You guys can hear me. You guys can, right? This is really hot chick. Right? I can't say it too loud. My ladies don't do it. But hey, there was a situation where there was this very attractive young lady who wanted to, spend some time with me, whatever the case may be. And I didn't understand why she wanted to spend time with me. So I kind of guess I talked myself out of it, kind of. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go, I'm going to go jump in the shower, whatever. And then, when I'm going to come back out. And and I'm thinking, so I'm sitting, in her room, and I'm just like, she's going to get in the shower now, like literally right then and there, and I'm just sitting there in front of the TV, like, like I should be getting ready, but I don't know for what. So I'm just, just there, and I'm like, oh shit, she's gonna try to do stuff, like, like she's really gonna, and I swear to you, I got up, put my sneakers on, I walked to the living room, sat down next to her brother.
Wow.
And
why? I mean, like, what was the thought process?
I mean, it was, she did one of those things like, we're always, she said, we're always alone. I'm like, you're right, we're always alone, right? She's my neighbor, we're like always alone, like night, day, whatever, always alone. And she was like, we could do it right here, right now, and nobody will walk in. And I was like, we could. That is true. That is very true. We could. And she's like, you know what? I'm about to go in the shower. And when I come back out, we're going to do it. And I'm like, all right. Okay. All right.
Does she even want you to wait that long? That's the question I had. Like, does she even want you to wait that long? Maybe she wanted you to join her.
No, because people were there. But the idea was the fact that, like, her parents and people were so trustworthy of me.
Oh,
I can literally be in the room, door closed, and no one's gonna be like, "Hey, you guys can't be with the door closed," whatever.
Well,
anybody else would be like,
mistake number one. But yeah, keep going.
Right, like anybody else, it was like, "Oh, open that door," but me, not a problem.
Oh,
and I literally, I sat there and then I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah, no." I got up, so I went a little. Then I saw her brother. She gets out of the shower with a towel, and she looks at me and she shakes her head like, "You're such a punk," and walked away. And I was like, she was really going to do it. She was, I fumbled. I just admitted to.
That just sounds like you took yourself out the game. That don't even sound like you fumbled. That just sounds like you just. Like, right, I'm not going back in the game.
Mean,
like,
that's also. Yeah, that's also.
My man did some. My man did some load management. Hey
yo! I
didn't even think about that.
That actually works here.
I didn't even think about that item too. That literally was just
actually really works here. I got two stories. One of them mine, one of them not mine. I was in calculus class when I was in college, and some girl I was cool with, whatever. She was like, we had occasionally like grab lunch outside school, whatever. She's like, you should come to my apartment. We should study. We should study together for the calculus final. Like, we can help each other, bro. When I tell you that both of us sucked at that math, sucked at calculus, bro. Both of us. I'm just like, how am I gonna help you? And little did I know that she meant help her in a different way. Little did I fucking know. My moron ass. I was like, oh, and then that didn't hit me until like a year later. Where I was telling somebody else that story, and I'm like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. Oh my god. But another story. So my homie he's in Brooklyn. He's trashed, right? And this is like the end of the night, 3:00 in the morning. He's getting a sandwich. Two women approach him, not one. Two women approach him. And granted, I watched too much TV. So when you first told me the story, I was like, "You sure he wasn't trying to rob you?" But that notwithstanding, they're with the shits. Like they're just like, "Listen, we trying to go to your crib and do some cardio, if you know what we mean." Like on that kind of shit. Like not it could be. No, we both trying to have two scoops. It was on that kind of time. Okay. My man turned to him and looked and said, I paid for my sandwich and I would like to eat it. God.
I get it.
Hey, as a fat boy, like, I like part of me understands, and then part of me is like, hey, it's a $7 sandwich. But he was not in the right mind at that point. That man was zooted. He was gone. Like, all right. But he's mad about that. That happened to him like 8 years ago. He's still mad about that to this day because he fumbled a 3. So I'm just like, yeah, I would be mad too. Not gonna lie.
Wow.
But he said the sandwich was good though. At least that helped. It was good.
I would hope.
Jimmy, I'm gonna add. Do you have a fumble story?
I do. A couple of them.
Let's hear this one. Let's hear this one.
Kev knows them. It's a similar variety. Pretty much, long story short, I talk with these women. I have them over at my house. But the thing is, we play some chess, and I'm just playing some chess because I'm just like excited. Like, hey, we can play some chess, and I noticed that both times they don't particularly seem particularly excited about the prospect of playing chess. Even one of them, I think I made some of my peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies, and I wasn't even thinking because I wasn't. I get nervous a lot, as you can tell, probably from me speaking. I get nervous a lot. I wasn't even thinking about that prospect of having sex. I was just like, hey, come to my apartment, just chill, relax, play some chess, talk a little bit. If I want to make you something, I can, and then you're on our way. And that's about it. And unfortunately, obviously, nothing happened. But yeah, and I'm
Did
sure
you
there are a
win?
couple.
I'm shocked that the peanut butter cookies didn't get
Oh, I
get the
won.
gasm.
Yes, they didn't really
Yeah.
know the rule. They didn't really know the rules crazy. Like I tried to teach them, but they were kind of resistant to the rules of
Nobody.
chess. but
Dude, can I
but
ask one question? Just ask
yes,
one question. Just edify me
yes.
real quick. What time of it? What time in the evening was it when you were offering to play chess?
This was more like midday. So this was probably like 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So this was like midday. This wasn't like crazy in the evening. This was like midday.
All
So I
right,
wasn't even.
as long well, okay, as long as it's not nighttime. Like if it's
It
like
wasn't like
11
dead of
o'clock,
night.
like
No, it
11
wasn't
o'clock,
dead of night. It
you
was
don't want
like
to get too riled up.
yes. It was midday, so it's like I wasn't going to just be like, oh yeah. But yeah, that's about it. And I'm sure there are a couple of times women have hit on me, and I'm just like, did she hit on me? But I defer to that. No, she's just being polite. And I go about my day because I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just trying to be like, okay, if you hit on me, I'm very flattered. But if you didn't, I'm fine with that. I can move on with my day.
I don't feel as bad now about my story because
My man was out here trying to explain to them what to do with the queen and was fucking with it. Right.
So
Yes, pretty much, yeah. And
this-
sometimes they would choose things that weren't part of the rules, and that actually did annoy me. Like when it was just like things that weren't part of the rules. I'm like, no, this is not how you
hard
fuck. I
line,
didn't.
Jude's hard line is chess. That's it. No, we're playing chess. We're playing
I
chess.
think I think I didn't curse, but I was
Like
like,
we
you
playing
can't move
chess.
the
I'm not
pieces
trying to
like
play with your
this.
chest. Like
This
that
is
is
A4. That's
This is
now.
how
Do
you
you want to
move
learn how
the
to
pieces.
castle or not?
Yes, pretty much. And I mean, I was just like trying to help.
Are you trying to learn about what a checkmate is or not?
Oh my god. Well,
I mean, I
that
would
was
checkmate them because I was just so good compared to them. So yeah,
no. They
that
didn't
happened a
care.
lot.
I'm pretty
No,
sure.
but here's the problem. You checkmated yourself out of
I
simplicity.
did.
That's the
Wow,
problem.
those are some bars. You should write it out. But that was a bar.
That
You checkmated.
you're
Yeah.
giving me too much credit, but thanks.
gasms too.
Mm-mm.
Well, that is what we call a show. And we'd like to definitely say goodbye for now. We'd like to thank our guest, special guest Jordan Breeden, Dr. Jordan Breeden, not necessarily doctor, but a doctor in our hearts and our minds. And from what I remember, and finally we'll miss about Jordan being on crack. But you definitely follow him on Twitter at, I got it right here, the_J_Breeding, and make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel name?
Dr. Jordan Breeding.
Dr. Jordan Breeding. So make sure you follow him, subscribe to him on YouTube as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and my pod, Middle Spark and my pod TV. We're on the Tickety Talks. Make sure you follow us on TikTok, middle_initial_pod on TikTok. I normally edit the videos. They're pretty fun. Shout out to Sauce Gardner, did a video edit for Sauce. Well, not for Sauce, but for him winning the Rookie of the Year. Make sure you follow Kevin Lewis at KLEW24, and make sure you follow Jude Truth at Jude Truth, and make sure you follow us on Instagram and on Twitter at MIPod69. I would say follow me, but I don't want people to follow me anyway. And of course, I'm suspended. I'm also suspended.
Finally, Elon doing the right thing.
Finally.
Finally.
For the rest of the gang, anybody have any final words before we get out of here?
No, I just want to thank Jordan for coming on with us. It was a really good one.
Thank you.
Like you said you were going to be a useless guest. That was very, very fucking wrong.
Well, we talked about a lot less sports than I believe that we would.
You can thank me. I'm gonna take the fucking credit for that one. Yeah.
Thank our new producer of the show. He does the rundowns and everything, comes with the material. I occasionally give him suggestions, but this is all his. So that's
it was great. I had a blast. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
and appreciate the people who tuned in live. A lot of people don't really tune in live, but appreciate those. I said I was going to do a live episode for you guys to see what you do behind the scenes. Of course, this will be edited and posted on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Make sure you subscribe to us on Spotify and Apple Music. And of course, stay inspired by 69. Peace.